You know, I've said on this channel many times that a story without an end is a story with no purpose. And that kind of plays into the theme of this video, why I stopped watching a lot of the content creators that I did who were a part and are still a part of the anti-woke content creation circles. Well, that kind of starts a long way back in 2017 when The Last Jedi was released. It really started there. Now, back then we said SJW, we didn't say woke because the terms changed, even though if you actually go back and you look at the word usage, woke was actually being used back then. But if I say that word too many times in this video, which I'm going to, YouTube is automatically going to downrank this video. It's really weird. It doesn't like that word, surprisingly enough. So moving on. In 2017, The Last Jedi came out, and I still to this day am proud to say that I have only seen about 5 minutes of a Disney-produced Star Wars property. That was they did the horrible CGI Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, because everybody was losing their crap about that. But during that time period, we were starting to see more and more of the properties that we grew up with just being changed and ideologically changed and pushing us towards this thing. And we were like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Why is this going on? And during that time period, we didn't really know what it was because we were just kind of learning about it through the fact that our favorite pop culture icons were being radically altered. Well, as time went on, it seemed that we started to learn what they were doing. They wanted to infiltrate the economy. People wanted to infiltrate politics, and they wanted to infiltrate pop culture. And they wanted to do this by telling us that they were going to pick and choose the winners and the people that they thought should be hailed in society. Now, that to me sounds a lot like Marxism. In fact, if you actually look at all of it, it basically is the same thing. And so I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to be told who the winners and losers are. I want the winners and losers to be based off of merit, right? If you do good, you get gooder things. If you do bad, you get badder things, right? It's a very easy concept to understand. So for many years, I watched a lot of content creators talking about the downfall of pop culture, how it was changing, why it was changing. Then I started seeing a lot of things were infecting politics and infecting business. And we started getting things like different initiatives inside of companies where they were saying they had to hire certain groups of people based off of whatever that person wanted to call themselves that day. And that was something that I didn't agree with. I thought the best man for the job should have gotten it, or the best woman for the job, whatever. I never particularly cared about their gender, their sexual kink, or their background. As long as they were good for the job, they could do the job. That's what I wanted. And at the beginning, that's what I thought a lot of people were fighting for, and it seems that a lot of people were. Now, as time went on, I started to notice that people went from using the word SJW to using the word woke, and now that's the popular one now. And obviously DEI gets wrapped up into this, and at this point, the video has been absolutely downranked. So if you like my content, please share it, because I'm gonna be honest, there's no way I can get around this topic. But over the course of time, and in and around 2022, I started being like, okay, every video is the same. It doesn't matter what the topic, whether it was Captain Marvel, or it was the Velma video, or the Velma cartoon that they put out. And all this stuff just kind of progressively getting worse. All the videos were the same. It was, these people don't know what they're doing, or these people are just trying to destroy our pop culture because they don't want us to be happy. They don't, and it just felt like every single video from all of these different creators that I was watching was a script, and a script that I had seen before. And honestly, over the course of time, that got really, really just boring to watch. It was no longer, oh, I'm gonna find out new information about this thing that's happening in the business world, why these directors are doing the things that they're doing and all that, because, well, the information was the same in every video. It's like everybody turned into Mike Zero, right? They all said this same thing, but provided no new information. And for a lot of people out there, that's going to be an insult to a lot of people. My bad, but that's just how I felt about it. Because after you'd been watching something from basically up until about 2024, so what, 7 years of seeing the exact same content, I just got to a point where I was like, well, this isn't really, it's not jiving with me anymore. And a lot of what it seemed to be is that people would say, well, they were angry about this thing. And I got to a point where I was like, but why are you angry? Like, you know it's happening. Why are you still watching this stuff. Like, if it just makes you angry, don't watch it. Like, see the headline, understand, oh, it's another property that got taken down. Guess I won't watch that one anymore. Oh well, move on with your life. Don't pay any mind to it. Don't give attention to it. Don't give it your money. Problem freaking solved. But then I started to notice something, and it was something that I really wanted to point out. Now, obviously, we know of the guys from World War II and the word that they were called. Still not allowed to say that on YouTube very much. But anyway, I said, hey, if they keep overusing the bad guy word from World War II, that it loses its meaning over the course of time. Similar to the W word, you know, the word that starts with W and ends with oak, you know. But all of that stuff I felt was like, wait a minute, we're starting to use this word over and over again. It's going to lose its meaning. Because the meaning that I got into it with was, ow, I'm sorry about that. Oh. Yeah, my bad. Anyway, sorry. I don't like wearing my crucifix under my shirt. That's not something that I like to do, and I change shirts. Anyway, so moving on, one of the things that I noticed was that people kept overusing the word, you know, the W word with oak, and I was like, man, the same thing is going to happen. It's no longer going to mean the same thing that like racist or the bad guy word from WW2. It's going to start to change. It's going to lose its meaning, and it's no longer going to be the same thing. And I hope that people would recognize that. And when that happened, as that definition radically changed, people would stop making content talking about that. Well, the problem is that they didn't. And the definition went from essentially a cultural Marxist takeover of the economy, society, pop culture, and something that I just think is really weird. It literally turned from, hey, we don't want people picking and choosing the winners of society based off of sexual kink or their, you know, whether they're male or female or what color their skin happens to be. And it literally went into, oh, we just don't like black gays and women in video games. And I was like, wait a minute, what about Lara Croft? What's happening here? What about, you know, all of the games that a lot of the games that I played when I was a kid growing up, like these are considered masterpieces. And some of the games that I didn't experience, you know, like Dragon Age Origins and all that stuff, like it still had a lot of that stuff in there. But I realized that it was no longer a conversation about the cultural takeover and trying to effectively take people who couldn't do the job and install them into positions, you know, that were the job, and then ultimately failing. But it turned basically into, we just don't want women and blacks and gays as characters in any game at all. Now, I had arguments with a good friend of mine, actually my best friend, and one of the arguments that I had with him over the course of years was that I didn't want to play Baldur's Gate 3 because I felt that it was pushing the message that we needed to effectively get rid of meritocracy in society and overthrow the capitalist system. I don't like that, and that's what a lot of this stuff is. And there's subtle versions of that, and there's overt versions of that. Then there's, you know, you need to bow down to the people that we say you bow down to. And I understood this as a cultural takeover. My buddy, who isn't in politics at all, is like, no, it's just a bunch of people who don't like women and don't like, you know, people who are black and don't like people who are gay. And he started putting that on me, and I was like, that's not what, why are you saying that? I don't understand. And I couldn't understand that. And like I said, he's just apolitical. He doesn't care one way or the other. Well, the dam really broke for me at the tail end of 2024. I was watching a gaming stream from a gaming content creator called Luke Stevens. If you guys have heard of him, great. He is completely apolitical. Well, I say that with an asterisk there because I still think I highly disagree with how he did his Last of Us Part 2 review, but we'll move on from that. But I was watching him cover the PlayStation State of Play, and in that, they revealed the Ghost of Yotei trailer. And as soon as the main character took the mask off, revealed herself to be a woman, he said, and I quote, "Oh, everybody's gonna complain that it's woke now because it's got a woman." And that pissed me off. That pissed me off so badly because I was like, that is a disingenuous argument, and you are actually trying to twist what the argument is. We don't care if there's a female in the lead of a movie or the lead of a video game. The merit needs to be there. They need to earn it. And we need to stop being told that the people who just kind of suck at life deserve to control the C-suites of corporations, right? That's a totally different argument. So what I've been doing for some time is if I want to make a video, I go and I do just a little bit of research. Not much, but just to see what's out there. So I went over to Twitter when I had a Twitter. I recently got rid of it. It might still be up. I don't know. I think I'm under the 30 days still that it might still be up. But I went to Twitter and I went to the IGN video that they had just dropped, which was basically the trailer. And under that, within the first 5 minutes of this thing being out, people were saying, oh, Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, woke of Tsushima now. It's woke. It's got a female character. And that really messed with my head. Because I was under the impression that people believed what this was in the cultural takeover, implementing and trying to replace meritocracy and capitalism in our society, whether through the economic, the political, or even the social, being like pop culture. And I realized, holy crap, no, it's literally turned into the thing that I thought it was going to. It was going to lose its meaning. The word woke, the SJW thing, was going to lose its meaning after it had been used so much. And now it does just mean that people don't like women, they don't like black people, and they don't like gay people in games. And I was like, okay, so I didn't do that video. I didn't do that video saying that Luke Stevens was twisting the argument in a disingenuous way because I was proven wrong. And that the side that I thought that the people that I thought I was surrounding myself with believed the same thing that I did. And shortly after that, getting more critical of, again, the side that I thought I was on and researching things, people that I trusted when they would put out a video or they'd put out a tweet, I would go, holy crap, and I would look into it. And the more and more I realized, oh, wait, there's no basis behind this. They're just saying things. One of the things, and I actually tried to shout at the guy doing it, was Cabrutus. He was the guy that kind of broke the levy on. He did the DEI detected stuff. It was the Sweet Baby Inc. thing. He kind of broke the levy on that, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like that was trying a corporate takeover of our pop culture in gaming, and that was a crazy thing. And he went and he said. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but Cabrutus said something to the effect of that the Game Awards hate masculinity so much that they don't want to acknowledge like Black Myth Wukong and Space Marine 2. And this one I remember, he's like, they are pretending they don't exist. And then he shared a screenshot of only the Game of the Year category and put that up. And I was like, holy crap, they snubbed him from the Game Awards. They snubbed these games from the Game Awards. That's insane. How, like, the Black Myth Wukong Space Marine 2, high praise, lots of people like them. How could you just snub it from the awards? So I went to the awards because I was going to grab screenshots. I was like, yep, we're going to grab screenshots. I'm going to do this video. I'm going to be like, look, these people are... Sure enough, Black Myth Wukong and Space Marine 2 were actually in multiple award sections for just different categories. They just weren't up for Game of the Year. But why would you say that they were pretending they didn't exist? You know what? A few months after that, a guy whose tweets I'd seen, and I was like, I don't know about this guy. Pirate Nation went out, and he talked about how he was a longtime fan of the Fable franchise, and he just hates to see what they've done with this franchise over the years, and how this new Fable is just going to be a total perversion of what the old Fable was. And I'm paraphrasing on all this because I can't go back and I can't get the screenshots. And the reason I can't do that, I don't have Twitter anymore. I got tired of that fucking website. I'm done with it. I don't care. Nothing intellectual is happening over there. But it got called out because he was sharing a screenshot from an article from like 2004 talking about the first game. Where the director was like, yeah, if the players want to run around in a dress and go have fun, like whatever, we don't care. Dude, I ran around in the biggest, bulkiest armor that I could in a pimp hat. Are we allowed to say pimp on YouTube? I don't know if we are. But anyway, I ran around and did that in the first game. Do I still have it down here or did I take it upstairs? Nope, I think I took it upstairs. But yeah, I fabled the last chapters. Oh. It's right here. Still have it. I still go and play it once a year. I love this game. This is a great game. And I was like, wait a minute. These guys are just saying things. And they're going to continue on. And there are people that are going to come up with excuses for them. You can't just say things. You have to stand on the principle of the things that you're saying. To say something, they're pretending something doesn't exist. Or to go out and like literally fake your fandom over something. That really started to break me down. And I was like, I don't know if I agree that people should be acting like this. I mean, I thought if we were fighting for something that was righteous and good, that was something that we would hold our own side, which at this point, I'm just done with the tribe, accountable. Like, you can't just say stuff. You know, one of the things that I really loved is I was invited on the Night's Watch channel with Shad M. Brooks. I love Shad to death. There was one interaction that we had that really had me scratching my head, and it was around the Game Awards time period. And if the live stream is still up, you can go and look at it. But Shad said that he thought that, you know, Jeff Keighley from the Game Awards was trademarking the Game Awards because he felt threatened by Stuttering Craig, who is doing the Side Scrollers podcast now. He's the guy that started Screw Attack back in the day. Like, I've seen Stuttering Craig on the internet for years. And even before Screw Attack was on YouTube, it was on its own website. Like Craig's been around a while. And when Shad said that, he was like, they're doing it just to get back at Craig, you know, just to stop him, just to keep him from overtaking that. And I'm paraphrasing here. You can go watch it. And I was like, Shad, that's a big claim, dude. No, we need to look into this. So Shad found when the announcement for the Side Scrollers podcast on the Side Scrollers podcast, where Stuttering Craig said he was going to do his Game Awards, the Real Gamer Awards, or whatever he titled it. And I went and I found when the trademark was filed. The trademark was filed 2 months before Stuttering Craig ever made the announcement. And shortly after that, Shad just kind of deviated. He was like, well, I want to talk about other things anyway. And that really worried me because I've come to know Shad as a friend, and I never had this conversation with him. But I wanted to ask, like, Shad, why, like, we can't just be saying things, bro. Like, we've got to do at least a bare minimum amount of research. We can't just say things to rile up our side. That's wrong. Getting people angry about something that isn't true isn't right. You know, there is a proper time to be angry and a proper time not to be angry. And when you're saying something that it isn't true, we need to really make sure that we're backing up what we say, because a house of cards and all that. And over the course of time, after following a lot of creators that are doing anti-woke content, I just feel that, one, the definition of the word has radically changed from what I knew it to be. And I held on to hope that people thought it was the same thing that I thought it was, which was the cultural Marxist takeover of, you know, economics, politics, and pop culture. And it's just changed into what seems like a lot of people regurgitating the same thing. They basically use the same script every day, which is just boring. Or two, it's people who are just saying, yeah, no, we don't want women, blacks, and gays in video games, period. And I'm like, and that's not what it was. That's not where it started, right? It was people being told, you need to bow down to somebody else because they're the downtrodden in society, and the only reason they're downtrodden is because the evil, you know, corporation owners and the white men didn't like them, and now we need to elevate them to this status, and you need to agree with it. It's like, I don't have to agree with shit. I don't have to agree with a fucking thing you tell me. And I don't like that you're trying to steal jobs from people who earned it. And I don't like that you're trying to tell people that stories that aren't good are good. That's not cool. That's called propaganda. But at this point, it's like, we might as well just not have any women in video games. Because apparently it's woke. Unless it's Stellar Blade and her ass cheeks are hanging out, which I wouldn't let my kids play that. And I come at this from a father of 4. I have 3 daughters. and one's son. So Stellar Blade's definitely not a game that I would let them play, especially at their ages. So I look at a lot of this from that lens. But the reason that I stopped watching a lot of anti-woke content creators, and the reason that I stopped watching a lot of the people that I used to, is the conversation that they're having is the same that they were having back in 2017, but I've heard it before. It's repetitive. The definition of what they say they were fighting against has radically changed. And I feel like people moved with the goalpost. Instead of going, this word is changing a lot, maybe I should stop using it, they continue to use it, thinking that it gets clicks, even though I've heard from a lot of big content creators with millions of subscribers that that word actually downgrades your channel. And honestly, this video is going to get downgraded because I used the W word with oak at the end of it too many times. But it's one of those things that really makes me wonder, will we ever find online communities again that are built on sharing similarities with each other without being built on drawing up anger and rage? That's not healthy, man. Being angry every day about stuff. And that's where I got. That's why I unsubscribed from a lot of people and I don't watch the content anymore. It's the same thing. I have eyes. I can see. Don't get me started on when people said, we're watching it so you don't have to. People that would say, you shouldn't give money to these companies that hate you. Oh, but I'm going to give money to them so that way I can watch it. So that way, but it's okay because I use it as a tax write-off. And that argument just seemed BS to me. It's like, if you have a moral issue with a thing, don't give it money and then use the argument that you're going to, use it as a tax write-off. It's like, I feel the same way about people that give a whole bunch of money to charity and then use it as a tax write-off. Like, charity shouldn't be a tax write-off. Charity should be charity. But yeah, this is a long rant. I've been thinking about this for quite a few weeks now. I've been gone for a while. I built a barbecue offset smoker. Really proud about the thing, man. It's super cool. I like cooking barbecue for people and smoking meat and stuff like that. That's my pastime. It's turning into just more than a hobby. Like, I genuinely enjoy it. And I just, I took a month and a half off to go build this thing. I watched content that was fun, entertaining, engaging, interesting. And I didn't watch anything that was talking about how woke other things were. And I had a good time with it. But yeah, comment down below and let me know how many people out there feel the same way. Do you still watch a lot of people who do that kind of content? Or do you not? Let me know. And I'm sure if this video gets shared at all, it's going to get like 300 views probably, which is going to be fucking terrible. YouTube is definitely going to downrank this, not going to share it. But it's going to get like 300 views probably. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I will, as I'm getting done with other projects and spring cleaning and stuff around the house, probably going to do some live streams over on Twitch and Rumble. Have some fun with that. Just hang out with people again. Kind of miss doing live streams. I can't do as many as I used to, but I might do one a week. Anyway, thank you all for joining my rant. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, until next time, cheers, everybody.